Hey, you're back. Glad you could make it. I'm glad you got nothing better to do. I said in the last video that I was going to dig into the front of this fender a little bit on account of it's got some previous work done to it. And it's old work done to it. So let's just jump right in and start digging into it. And then I'll explain to you why they done what they done, when they done it, how they done it, and who they done it to. All right, I'm going to explain something here. Now listen up, would you? I'm old, all right? I mean, I can still push a turd out. Nobody's going to pull it out for me. But I'm old enough. Right, Betty Case? So I went to school in the 80s, in high school. Now, before you get your balls in a bunch, and you get your nipples all tied in knots over the butchery, the hackery, the shellackery going on here. Sell your tools and buy a cab, you hack, etc., etc. When I was in high school, in the 80s, this is what you done. When you had a dent, you drilled some holes to pull your dent out. There was no unispotters, pin welders, none of that kind of stuff. That wasn't even invented yet. Like, I mean, can you believe it? So you drilled your holes, you took your slide hammer, because they did have slide hammers, and it had a great big Hooran bolt hanging out of the end of it, a big lag screw. Stuck her in there, twisted her in, threaded her in like you're screwing in a screw, kink, 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 and you pulled your dent out. So you got her out as good as you could, you do some smashing and some banging, and no fooling, what they told us in school, in high school, and get off my foot, would you? You weigh like 85 pounds. And, yeah, you. And what they did in shops and in the trade is they leave that, just like that. And this still has blue paint. Cut it out now, you're going to stick a hole in you, and I don't like that kind of stuff. Like there's even still paint around those holes. They said leave that so it doesn't rust. And the whole idea is when you smear your bingus in there, lay the dough to it, you get your dinks hanging out on the inside. And your dink does this. It's like an old dink. You get the old dink hanging on the inside. And no fooling, they said back then that droopy dink on the inside, that'll help act as an anchor. And that'll help make sure that the filler doesn't come off of there because you got it hooked in there. That's what they told you. That's what the trade was, and that's what the standard was, and that's what everybody did. That was the way back then. And you know what? This is actually, you can probably even tell by the picture, this isn't bad. Like, this isn't bad at all. A little bit of hammer and dolly, and I'll flatten those out and I'll weld those holes up. And what you're seeing, they only had a little bit of filler there and a little bit of filler there. Because, like whoever did their metal work, they done it pretty good. This is the way they did it. That's what they done. So just calm down. Just mellow out, would you? Jesus. Sometimes when you see old stuff, it's old stuff. God. Everybody's so uppity nowadays. Right, Fatty Kate? What the hell's going on in the world? Common opinion out there. Yoink! For stripping panels is you got to take a minute. You got to have a media blasted. Yeah, sure. I mean that's all right. You can do that. If I'm working the panels after the fact, this will save a little bit of time in the long run, having me stripping it myself. And I'll tell you why. Because as I strip it, I can see what's underneath here. I can see what's been done previously and what I'm going to have to tend to. Whereas if you take this somewhere and have a media blasted and you bring it back to me and it's all just the stripped steel, you know, and it's always going to have a little bit of a, they call it a profile. It's going to have a little bit of a profile to it. It's going to be a lot harder for me to find out what I got to do. Right, fatty cakes? Yo, fatty muchachos. So this way it's easier because as I'm cleaning the paint off of it, I can see what's underneath the paint and what I got to do. And you can see right here that, so this fender's been touched up on the front, but there's our original blue. It's only been done once. And I don't believe that this whole fender's been painted because we got like some action here. Oh no, it has been back here as well. So they did do the whole thing. And another thing is this is lacquer. Lacquer? How would you say lacquer? L-A-Q-U-E-R. Lacquer? Queer? L-A queer? Lacquer? It's lacquer. So you got to go slow because as soon as you heat this stuff up, and if you're using a piece of paper such as this lovely piece of 80 grit, as soon as you warm this paint up, it's going to stick in that 80 grit like, well, you can't say shit in a rabbit's fur because the bear's already proved that shit don't stick to a rabbit's fur. It'll stick in there like shit in the bear's fur. So yeah, I am going to peel the paint down using this here 80 grit and my machine. Oh, that's too slow. That's not fast enough at all. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. That's probably all right. And we're going to get to getting. So this is some of what you get with lacquer when it starts sticking. See that? It's because it's getting too hot. There, you're getting a little bit there. And then what'll happen when you starts to load up with that shit, because it's getting too hot, is as this is spinning, well, it just floats on those bits of paint, and then your paper never touches the surface. So every now and then you got to have a look. Clean some of that shite out of there. So the paper's not really warm. On the surface, it really isn't. I mean, it's just barely. It doesn't take nothing. You know what I'm saying to you? If I had one of them temperature guns, it wouldn't read very high. But I don't got one. I've done this before, but I'll show you again. When you're doing shit like this, and if you buy this paper, which is like, it's goddamn near $3 a sheet, I think, something like that. It's ridiculous. But when you're doing this, you ain't never only going to use but an inch and a half of that outside edge of that paper. So the inside, here, listen to that. Not much. Lots. So what I do is I'll take a piece of used up paper, put her in a center-ish. Got a pair of these here, cut them all up, 59-cent air rib scissors. Give her the old arts and crafts and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Just going slow enough for you? It ain't going no faster for me. And just like that, we're a little stick of 80 grit. Damn, there's a part that doesn't do shit no more. Huh? I ain't joking, you know. Oh! Just about done a header. Just about flipped it. Oh, sorry. You want to see some business? Here, I'll show you some business. This is going to be a sticky wicket. Little tricky. Oh, yep. That's some bitch. See that? That's a pip, hey? That's the headlight, you know, the headlight would be there. Whoop, 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 whoop. So that would be from the bumper. Somebody went, wah bang, and give her one. And we have a little braquette in here. And this little braquette comes all the way down to past here because it's this nuts welded to that, to this and that. See, now that's a complication. I can fix it. So, yeah, this isn't going to be one of your, ooh, that's like Star Wars, eh? This ain't going to be one of your fancy pants TV repairs. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing here is fancy pants TV land. Woo! Boop. So, first thing to keep in mind if you're going to fix something like this, if you're doing this, okay, you can do it. When you got to fix this here, well, you got to start somewhere. Now, the training that they give you, if you take any training, tells you when you're pulling a dent out, the phrase is last in, first out. Well, that doesn't really apply here. So there, I don't know what I even bothered telling you that for, because who gives a shit? Where we will start will be, it's a tough one to describe, because something like this, I mean, that's a good little knuckle in there. And I mean, it's going to want to be hard anyways because of this here. So, like, it's going to take a little bit of whacking to knock that out of there. And generally, if it was like in the middle here or something, well, it's going to pull all kinds of shit around. And it's going to try to do that anyways. So what we're going to do is we're going to start where it has the most control, which is right here. Because this shape is still as it needs to be on account of there's so much shape going on here. Curves, 90s, this little bracket's helping as well. You know, it's got some reinforcement up there. So what am I going to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Here, I'll show you something too. So if we look at the inside of this little turkey, well, it's kind of hard to, well, you see how that looks kind of rusty there? Now what that is that I'm pointing at with my grubby little digit, what we're seeing there is the backside of that. Does that make sense to you? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix it. So there. What do you think of that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to stand it up on this end here on a hunk of wood, and I'm going to get a big something and a smasher, and I'm going to smash her. So there. Alright, I don't know if you can see this worth of shit. Now, I'm going to use something like this here, because I want something with a fairly broad tip on it, hey? I don't want a real sharp point. Now, this is just a big pry bar. If you're ever going to be smashing on stuff like this, like a pry bar kind of an idea, or even any of your punches, your chisels, whatever, if they're mushroomed like this at all, wear some safety glasses, would you? I seriously know a guy who's blind in one eye because he was, I think he was changing, he's a mechanic, I think he was changing a pilot bearing in a clutch, and a chunk of his punch chipped off, doink, straight into his eye hole. And he was wearing, I think he was wearing a face shield maybe, I don't know. Anyways, he's blind in one eye, so. Now if we're doing something like this, as you saw, it's reasonably serious. So I'm going to bang her out from the inside out. Now, if we're doing some banging like this, rather than taking a lightweight hammer and just smashing that son of a bitch like it owes you money, I prefer to take something with a big bonker on it. And then you can just kind of more drop the weight on it versus giving her the business. So let's just see how this works out. A lot of times I just hope for the best here. That's loud, isn't it? Well, that's what you get. It's loud. Sometimes it's loud. What are you going to do, you know? Can you see it? Is it doing it? I think it's doing something. Oh, my fender's gonna fall over. Stand up, you dirty bitch. Take what's coming to you, would you? Take it. Take it, baby. That was a good one. That was a good one. I think we're kind of coming around here. Put it on wood because it'll absorb some of the business. What'll happen? Like if I just put this on the floor and was smashing it with something, are you with me? You'd wind up getting little pimples in it. You know, from the corners, from the edges and stuff, and against the floor. Well, it'll stretch it and it'll do it. It won't do you no good. So put it on a hunk of wood. Put some wood under there. Throw your wood at it, and it'll help take up some of the. I don't know. It'll just soften it up a little bit. You know, like Jesus. What do you want from me here? I'm trying to teach you something, and you're just breaking my balls about it here. I got a pretty good idea this fender's going to fall down and whack me right in the noggin. Here's one. Oh, I just lost it. Shit balls. There we go. Here's one. Here's another one. It's not bad. Oh, Jesus. Oh. This isn't it. No. This isn't it. This isn't it. Now this is a definite don't ever do this, but I do this a lot. You're not supposed to do this because of two hardened objects. Like I said, the guy with the one eye, well, like they say that might shatter on you. I don't listen to them very much though, because usually whatever they say is it's hindering what I got to do. You know what I'm saying to you? They're not doing me no good. They do a lot of talking that's non-productive. So, see, it's kind of tough to get that in there, eh? So we'll give her one of these. You ready? There's one. It's actually easier because you got a handle to hold it too, hey? You can hang on to the wood. You can grip that wood. Just grip that wood, would you? When I was in high school and I was taking auto body, it's kind of funny because the teacher in the high school class, when he was teaching you how to smashing and banging and hammering and dollying, he'd tell you, grip that like it was your dick. I always thought that was kind of funny. Because some guys say, yeah, never mind, we won't get into that. All right, well, oh yeah. Let's have a look at what we've done. Sake. So that actually done pretty good, really. That's not as bad as it looks. We got a little bit of a hump there and still a little bit of a crease through here. I can still kind of get at it in here a little bit. Quite often, what I will do, if this shape is good, which it needs a little bit of work there, you can see we got a little bit of a kink there. So I'll work that a little more. But if you get a sharp crease in here, like that's going to be a pretty sharp crease. And that's going to be tough to try to get out of there, you know, to try to work out, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times what I'll do is if I get everything else nice where I'm happy with it and I got a sharp crease like that, I'll weld it. I'll fill that crease full of steel with a MIG welder and then grind that smooth. And now you've made the steel thicker there, but whoop-de-doo, who gives a fat rat's ass? You know what I'm saying to you? It's better than stacking a bunch of Bondo in there in that crease to have it fail in the future, possibly. I'm going to smash this a few more times to see what happens here. So we'll see the similarities are endless. You know what I'm saying to you? So get that in there. And shit's gonna get loud for a second. Scaring the cat. She thinks I'm cranky. She's wrong. Get out of the way, he says. Well, you know what? Where's my other smasher? Oh, there it is. It's right over in... There it is. Don't ever do that. He says. Where's there one in on Wicket there? How's it look from where you're sitting? I like these little thin glovies because you can actually feel stuff with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here now. Holy shit, that's coming out pretty good. I guess I shouldn't sound surprised, should I? It's not a vote of confidence, is it? A little bit of a pimple there. We got a pimple. So with that pimple, what I'm fitting to do is I'm going to take this hammer, and there's a pimple there, so the pimple is going to wind up being like in the middle of that hammer. So this side and this side are going to support on either side of that pimple, so it'll hold it out there, and it'll hold it out there while I smash it right in the middle. Might not work, I don't know. That's the theory behind it. Oh yeah, it's almost erogenous. See, that's pretty good. You know, I'm happy with that. I am quite happy with that. And like I said before, I'm just about happy with that. Just a minute. We'll give her the business here. One more little. I think we'll keep using this guy. I'll do a video on. Hey, see, when I did that, it even pulled my bracket right back up to I think where it should ought to be as compared to the other fender. What I'm doing here is I have another fender. See how there's no damage there? You can't see it now because it goes fuzzy because you're looking at my glove. Woo! But you see how it's got no damage there? It looks like it's damaged, but it's not. It's just the paint rubbed off. So I can compare back and forth between that to that, to that, to that. And like I say, with that last little bit of smashing, it kind of even pulled the bracket up, which is very similar to there. But yeah, I'm, you know, with all the paint and the rust, it doesn't look as good on camera as it actually is. But yeah, that's quite good. I'm happy with that. As I said, I will run a bead weld in here because there's a pretty good little crease in there. And yeah, I'll run a little bead weld in there, then I'll grind that smooth, and then we'll have a nice uniform little stitch imitation there. So that's going to be the end of this one. Get out of there, you sons of bitches. You're sons of bitches! If you're still here, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tell all your friends. Tell everybody you know. Tell them that I am just the best things, that I'm handier than pockets in your underwear. Tell them that. Thanks for watching.